All right, I'm back as promised for Wednesday. I'm a little bit earlier just because I'm actually supposed to go to a show tonight, so I'm starting a little bit early. But anyway, I have a couple of errata items. First of all, last week I put a .git keep in my library folder. Um, while that works, that's not the intent that I wanted. What I really wanted was anything that goes in this lib folder to be ignored except for the gitignore itself. So I always like to create these little gitignore files that do just that. So I went ahead and fixed that. And then secondly, I was thinking over my little setup right here. I mistakenly added this queue item count thing. While I thought it would be useful to keep this around, I'm actually going to get rid of it because while I was actually updating this STSQ just a little bit ago, actually, I came to find out yeah, I don't really need to have a count. I forgot the nature of it is that if this returns null, then it's obviously the end of the list. What I should be doing is checking to make sure that the line is null um, and that the threads have been stopped in order to break out of this loop. So I can actually perform a little cleanup here and remove some crap I don't need. So let's start with that. First of all, I do not need this queue item count anymore. Let's go look for all the red. We can get rid of that. Get rid of that. Keep things going here. So instead, what I want to do is make sure that my line is not null. So line not equal to null. Sorry, I do JavaScript quite a bit, so I'm used to the triple equals. For those of you who know what JavaScript is all about, then you feel my pain. I'm going to go ahead and delete that line there, and then remove it from here since that's no longer needed. This should build. Okay, and if I run it, everything should connect and start streaming out. So let's see here. It stopped, it stopped, it stopped. My bot should be joining up into the channel here momentarily. It already did, but we have a 500 millisecond delay between each of these messages right here, so that's why it's kind of lagging a little bit. I'll fix that in a little bit. The only reason why I have it set to it being this slow right now is just to make sure that it's testing right. Wow, this is a lot slower than I thought. I'm a web developer, so this is the reason why you ought to build your websites to be as fast as possible. 500 milliseconds really makes a difference. So I'm just going to type here. Something shows up. Sweet, my buffer's still going. Sweet. I'm just going to close out of here now, and we'll go ahead and do an update so that way it goes a little quicker. Right here I'm saying if line is null, go ahead and sleep it. Otherwise, keep printing. So what I want to do is get rid of this sleep. So that way it goes print, 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 print as fast as possible until it reaches a no line, and then it's going to sleep. I could improve this. I could improve this to say while thread is stopped and line is not null right up here in this true, but this is actually a little bit clearer. The fact of the matter is tonight, since we're going to be getting into a little lexing, I might actually create a little bit of an abstraction to fix that anyway, because I don't like all this code being in one spot procedurally like this. I know we're dealing with C, but we can actually modularize it quite a bit. So I'm just trying to think through of how I want to go through with this abstraction. So before we even get started on the parsing, we have to do this technique called lexing. This might be a little bit overkill for this application in general, but I like to learn, I like to practice, so I might actually go ahead and do that. So what I need to do is I need to figure out how I'm going to create that abstraction. So if I imagine the queue, this queue as its own buffer, then what I ought to do is I ought to create my lexer that is going to tokenize pieces of the string given a line. So we're going to do line by line parsing. So I need to make tokens. So that's a good place to start. So the cool thing about IRC is that it's actually pretty trivial to we'll just call it that. It's actually pretty trivial to parse out its commands. I'll just bring up the spec here. Let's see here. Was it BNF? Here it is. Cool. So whenever you're writing compilers or interpreters, usually when you're looking at a language, you're given a set of rules. Typically, in this format, as a matter of fact. So really, what it starts off with, usually with these sort of language definitions, the first line is going to be the ultimate line. So a message is composed of of optionally a colon with the prefix with the trailing space, followed by a command, optionally followed by parameters, and ending in a CRLF. So this was very important while I was parsing out the lines. And then it breaks down further. So that's typically how these languages are set up. It's actually kind of useful because it makes it it's actually I don't know, it's scarier than it is. I'll just explain some more detail here then. So in this case, now we're looking at prefix. So when we're looking at a message, what is a prefix? So prefix equals a server name, or it's a nickname with an optional of an optional. So it looks like an optional host with or without a user. So this is where it gets kind of confusing right here. It's a little nested. So you have a nickname or followed optionally by a user or a host, or optionally with a user combined with a host. So to give you an example of what that might look like, here we go here. So here's our prefix with the username nickserver@services, so that's the host. Followed by the command. So there's no actual domain after this, so it's just dot. Interesting. And then it goes command, and then followed by a parameter, which would be my bot's name right here. So it's sending a notice to my bot with the message is not a registered nickname. So that's an example of that. Here's another example. Here's another username at my IP address dot whatever my IP address resolves to, I guess. Command, and then just a channel. So notice here we're missing a parameter, but that's okay. The parameter here is just for join flol test, so that's how that works. So it's actually not as scary as it sounds or looks like. I always used to be scared to death of this stuff until I actually started dabbling with creating my own interpreter. In the past, actually a little over a year ago. So that's that. It's really not so bad, but but the reason why I'm looking at this right now is that it's actually going to give me clues into how I'm going to parse whatever's coming to me. So how am I going to tokenize it? How am I going to recognize what I'm looking at? That's what this is right here. This is actually an augmented BNF. I forget what BNF stands for, but I think it's something nowhere. No, Nair, I don't know. It's French. I don't speak it. BNF. So BNF language. Brachus Nauer form. or Brachus normal form. Yeah, so maybe I was wrong. Maybe I thought that was French, but it's really not. Um, maybe it is. But anyway, we're looking at a BNF, so augmented BNF. So it's just a little like subcategory of BNF. Feel free to look this up on your own time. Let's see here. Oh yeah, feel free to do comments. I'll periodically look at them. Anyway, where was I? Right down there. Whoops, I actually wanted to go back here. Yeah, what am I going to do here? So I need to create some tokens. Well, I think I would want a CRLF token. I would want a space token. So when I'm looking for tokens, I'm kind of looking for groups of characters or single characters that kind of represent something. So I could go way deep and say that every single one of these things is a token. And then the message would be followed by, but that's not really like a token though, like prefix right here, like this colon right here would be a token. It's like tokens are like are clues for things that we're kind of looking for. So here's a clue, and here's a clue. Params is its own clue. Will have its own set of clues, but sometimes it will have that, sometimes it won't. So I don't know what this times 14 means here. Maybe it means one letter. Whoops! Wow, how did that happen? Maybe here 1 times letter means at least one letter or a 3-digit code. One or many letters or a 3-digit code. So another token I could have is a digit, a number, letter. I don't know what PCRLFCL means. Looks like null is a token I could have. Oh, except any. So these could all be tokens. I unfortunately do not know how to read hex. Numbers 1 through 9. This is where I get lost. Whatever B and C mean. E through 1F. So this is like 15 through something. It gets even crazier and even crazier. Okay. Okay, I think we'll just start with a couple of tokens. We'll use this to note whether or not we're coming upon a prefix or some parameter. At symbol could be a token. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this. Alright, so what I like to do is I like to create a little token class, or not class, file, sorry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this, I'm going to make an enum, so enum token type. We'll call this enum IRC token type. And then from here we'll just define, so we'll do colon CRLF space this in itself could actually be a token. So what I could do is when I'm tokenizing things, I could actually match, since these are all ORs, what I could do is I could look for a character that exists within this range or all these ranges. So maybe this actually is a valid token. So I'll go ahead and do that. But I'll uppercase it using my little deal here. Actually, I don't know the command for that. Gosh, I know there's a way to do this. I'm just not super familiar with these editors as much as I love them. There we go. And then, let's see here. We'll need one for number, digit, so we'll create that. Okay. Do one for character. Some of these can be done without, you know, it kind of goes without saying. But I always like to just create them all up in front, so that way I don't even know what to call it. Does anyone know what that means? The @ symbol? No one? Okay. Whoops. Let's see here. I'll just call it @ symbol. Cool. So I'm just going to create a little enum, and then I'm going to have one that represents all tokens, or none. I'll just do that. So if it's all tokens, then it's going to be none. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this at 1. Actually, no, 0. So then we'll go all the way up from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe. Yeah. All right, cool. And then what I do is I create a struct IRC token. This is going to contain a token type. So enum, whoops, IRC token type. Oh, did I spell? No, yeah, I did spell that wrong. Call that type, and then probably since we're only dealing with characters and numbers, I don't know if I want to worry about string literals, as a matter of fact. So I might actually get rid of this digit part here because, well, no, or not string literals. Excuse me. Number literals. But then again, now that I'm thinking back through the spec, it does say that a number can be represented as a command, so I may want to keep that. So then what I would probably do is I'd probably do a union of some anonymous union of character or digit something like that. I'm going to do a quick Google for unions because it's I always forget them sometimes. They're really nice for when you don't know what type of thing you're kind of working with, so it kind of like builds a single data structure for various types like this right here. So usually, basically what it means is that this data union could be of an int, a float, or a string, but it's going to try to allocate enough memory to fit the largest element, so this logically makes sense. So in this case, it's the string, so it's going to be a 20 byte structure here, even though the int might actually be, for all intents and purposes, I don't know, how many bytes are in a word? 4 maybe? So this could be 4 bytes and 20 bytes. So just assuming it's 32 bits. So then this will be the longest data structure. So it has to accommodate that for that. So I'm just trying to think of how anonymous union works. I don't remember. Yeah, this doesn't help me. I can't spell anonymous. but Google can. Here we go. Again, I love this Geeks for Geeks website. So it looks like I could just yeah. Struct within the struct. Now what I want to do is yeah, so I think maybe I don't want it as anonymous. Maybe I actually want to name it. No, maybe I do want to keep it anonymous. I don't know if you can name it. Because even if I do name it, no, I do want to name it because I have other things in this within my struct. So never mind. I do want to name it. And then what I would do is I'd call that name dot whatever thing I'm trying to look at within that union based off the token type. So I think here is where I name it. We'll call this token value, possibly. So as of type and a value, so when I'm looking at this, well, in this case, CRLF is more than just, you know, a character. So I might instead of doing character, I might actually do a character array to make it a string. Yeah. We'll just okay. We'll assume that there's a string literals, and then we'll call this integer literal. So when we have a token, it'll just be of type string literal. So when I look at my when I actually start doing the parsing of this, I'd be looking for the token string of colon, probably string literal, followed by a space, and that will mark that. And then I could parse that out as, you know, when I needed to. And the command will be broken down further into a letter or 3-digit literal, or not a string or a 3-digit literal. But I might actually change this from a literal into some sort of keyword, perhaps, because in our program here, commands are keywords. So we'd be looking for a command to perform some action with our bot. So like if someone sends like a send message command to my bot, I would like it to, assuming that the words of my message might contain some special keywords involved with that, I might want to look for this command, look for a parameter, which would be the string of the message, and within that string, I might be looking for another keyword, so I would have a keyword parameter followed by another keyword followed by a string literal. Under normal circumstances, it might be better for me, like, if we're doing this bot in a different way, I'm actually trying to look for specific commands that get sent to my bot, because if I'm trying to do a digest, like, I think the end goal of my bot is to do a digest of messages. What I'm really looking for is, like, notices maybe, or private messages, you know, to my bot. I could go further and further, like, parse these strings here. But I'm trying to right now. I might do that later in another, you know, video. But some point later. But for right now, what I really want to do is I want to extract out pieces of information in here first, and then I can further parse out this later. But really what I want to do is I want to keep this stuff. So maybe I can have my bot only show private messages that are sent. So, I mean, let's be honest, who wants the message of the day all the time? So no one ever. I don't even know what 375 is, but I'm assuming it has something to do with the message of the day, so I want to kind of parse that out. Because I want to look for the command and its parameters. I don't care about a whole lot of this stuff unless I want to look for someone who's actually sending me a message, right? So this person here in my IRC channel is actually sending me a message, so I might want to parse that out at some point. So I could have two phases of parsing, but for right now, I'm going to focus on the spec. So we're going to have a character. I'm going to change this to a string. So we're going to have digit. Well, I'll just call this integer. Whoops. So for right now, I'm going to keep this as that, and then I'm going to add a keyword. Token. So a keyword is going to try to match against a dictionary. So I'm going to try to create a dictionary of keywords that I'm looking for. If it's an integer, I'm going to try to convert it to something, but I guess it could be a string. Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to do that. It would be nice if I had some sort of like map. So if I could map command codes to the string representation and vice versa, so I only have to look at the command representation of the or the integer representation of the command. Let's see here. I wonder if the commands don't really, it's not really specified here what the code is for that, so I might have some sort of lookup. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll start there. Whoops. So I'm going to keep it simple. Deal with that, and then I'll have a char character for if it's like some sort of single character thing. Let me align this up a little bit. These two things should be okay. Sweet. Okay. Token value. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is now I'm actually going to specify my public API for my token. So we're going to call this IRC token. I'll return a pointer to that. And this is going to be let's see, naming conventions. I think what I want to do is I want to call it allocate IRC token, and then this is going to be a void, but I'm not going to do that. And then we're going to do a void deallocate the IRC token. IRC token. If my screen is starting to get darker, I apologize. I do have flux turned on. I don't know if you guys can see that, but at least my monitor is starting to get darker here. IRC token. Then I'm just going to call this IRC token. Cool. So we're going to allocate and deallocate it. Then what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to get the token type. So enum IRC token type. And then IRC get token type. You're type pass in a struct of type IRC token and IRC token. Cool. Then I want the value of that. Oh, by the way, the reason why I'm doing this union, this brings up a good point. The reason why I'm doing this union is because I could alternatively, sorry if I could speak, do a void pointer to any kind of arbitrary data. But the problem is that I would have to cast it back out. I would be able to figure out how to cast it back out based off the token type, but at least with token value, I could be very explicit. No casting required. So that's what I like about unions. Anyway, continuing on. So what I would like to do here now is actually get the token value. So what I might do is instead, I might actually break this out into its own union here. So I think we're going to do that, and then I think it would be union token value, IRC get token value. This doesn't look like it's auto-completing very nicely. Oh yeah, that's fine. And then pass in a struct IRC token, IRC token. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to change this to be that, union token value. And then I'm going to get rid of that. And then I'm just going to do token value, union token value. Let's call that. Cool. So this is going to get the token value. The reason why I'm breaking all this API out is that I'm actually going to hide the implementation detail of this struct of IRC token. For those of you who are familiar with object-oriented, I'm going to perform actual encapsulation, arguably very true encapsulation. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do right now, is trying to think of my public API with how I want to handle tokens. And then sometimes what I like to do too is I like to say of type bool. Let's see, I don't know where it's going to try to import it from. Oh, that one. Sweet. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say bool IRC token is, and then I'm going to pass in struct IRC token. This actually, like, the reason why I like doing this is because it really cleans up branching statements. So if I were to type in, you know, if IRC token, whoops, I would be like, if, I'll just comment it out, if IRC token is toke, and then, you know, token type dot none. You know, it's just easier syntax, I think, than trying to like extract it out and then do a comparison. I like to abstract it out to make that comparison. We'll just do that. And then I'm not really going to do any getters and setters here, or setters, I mean. I'm just going to leave that up to the actual allocating of the token. So what I'm going to do here is now I'm going to pass in a type. So token type, and then we're going to pass in the union of token, whoops, type, and then the union of token value. And I'm just going to prefix this with, oh, IRC token type, sorry. Have I been doing this wrong this entire time? Yeah. IRC token type. I'm just going to call this, prefix that to IRC token value, IRC token type, perfect. And then IRC token value. So we have the token, we're going to deallocate that. We're going to create it here with allocate IRC token, pass in a type, give it a value. Okay, and then I'm going to get the type, IRC token type, or I'm going to get the value. And then I'm going to compare whether or not the token is of that token type. So I need to change that to IRC token type. Cool. Now I'm going to extract this out. So this is where I'm going to do the magic. IRC token. So we're going to do that, and then I'm going to, in my IRC token.c, redeclare it here, and going to bring all the functions over. So I think I should be able to generate definition. Wow, that's not where I wanted it. Sometimes my IDE, for whatever reason, doesn't understand that there's already like an associated C file to it, so I just gotta copy and paste, and then I'm just gonna do this, add my little brackets. Actually, you know, I probably could have just selected all those colons and just do it whatever. Replace them all at once. Different type. What? Huh. I wonder why that's complaining at me. Can't resolve variable null. Come on. Do I need to include something? Ugh. Probably this. Let's get that macro in there. There we go. I don't know why this is causing an issue. Let's go into the definition, right? I need to think about this. With different type bool. Oh, IRC token. That's not correct. It's actually IRC token type. Whoops. There we go. Sweet. All right, so just gonna go move right along then. So I'm gonna do IRC token, just boilerplate type or token. Do that. If token, I like to do this pattern. It's a little unreadable, but return. But what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and do the malloc. So we're going to do a struct IRC token, and then that's going to be a pointer, and we're going to do a malloc size of struct token, and that's undefined, so we're going to go ahead and do that here. So include std lib, I think is the right one. Yeah. Oh, we got an error here. Oh, right, it needs to be a pointer. My bad. Okay, and then otherwise we're going to return toke. And we're going to go ahead and assign it a value. So toke type equals type. Cool. Toke value equals value. Easy peasy. We're going to go ahead and call free without the extra e. IRC token. Okay, so we have our allocate and deallocate. These functions are pretty trivial to implement, so it's just a matter of doing IRC token, token type. This one's to return the value, so return IRC token value. And I hate to bore you guys with all this like boilerplate, but it's kind of like important for me at least to set all this up. I could just do it beforehand, but it's always nice to kind of just type it all out anyway as I'm talking through it. So here's the cool thing. IRC token is completely encapsulated. anywhere so if I compile this file IRC token.c into my main function here, because of the forward declaring of this, this is completely encapsulated, and my main function has no idea what the contents of IRC token is, and I think that's okay. I prefer encapsulation. This is what I love object-oriented programming, so of course I'm going to bring a little bit of that into C as much as possible. There are people who would argue against this due to speed reasons, but you know what? Our application does not need to be the fastest thing in the entire world. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that then. Cool, so we have our token. Next what I need to do is I need to inspect this one more time to make sure I didn't miss anything too important. I'm not going to deal with negative numbers, so I don't think I have to deal with negative numbers. I'll check comments real quick, see if anyone's been typing anything. Oh, yeah. What IRC lib am I using? Okay. Oh, okay, cool. I'm glad you guys are typing here now. Sorry for ignoring you. Okay, hi. Will it be open source like on GitHub and Bitbucket? Yes, it will. Hey, Twitch, IRC Bot, question mark. Okay, fine. What IRC lib are you using? I'm actually making one. Am I going to write an AST? Probably not. I'm not going to go that far. What I'm probably going to do is, since I don't need well, I should say this, IRC is not, or the IRC spec, BNF language is not recursive in nature. Therefore, I can get away with not needing an abstract syntax tree or recursive descent. No, I'm not going to be splitting. I'm actually going to try to actually parse, tokenize, and then kind of go in a very linear fashion. Do some lookups on the keywords and try to go that route. Cool. So anyway, going back to this, so I got my tokens all done. I think what I want to do now is start actually creating my lexer here, which is going to take in. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to pass in that queue. Since I think it's a buffer, I'm going to treat it as a buffer. Then I'm going to just pass that in as a dependency into my lexer here. So I'm just going to call this. Whoops. I'm going to do that, and then go here, create an associated header. I'm going to call it IRC Lexer. Cool. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and add those in there, and going to include the token. So IRC token. Oh, one quick thing. I want to make sure that my stuff compiles. Make sure everything's in there. So I'm queuing. Okay, so I'm including the queue. I'm including the C file. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add another include directory. Whoops. Real quick. I think I can just do that, as a matter of fact. I should be able to get rid of these. Let's see here. That didn't break. Let's see if it builds. Whoa. Okay. Well, it looks like I need to fix some things before I get too far ahead of myself here. Field has incomplete type. I wonder if it's how I set up the union. Let's see here. Go to token H. Shouldn't be an incomplete type. Sorry, I have to go back to the union. What? I guess I don't understand this question. What net after the lib is done? I'm assuming you mean next. I'm not really making a lib. I'm just trying to make a bot. But I could be a lib. I may not go that far. But I need to look at the union real quick. I have some anonymous structure. So it thinks that my union is anonymous. I think it's because by definition, it might be. I might need to wrap it in a struct, I think. Let me see here. C union. Like I said, I'm not super familiar with C's that much, or unions that much. I rarely use them, but they are nice to have. Yeah, see, that's not incomplete. It's passing in the IRC token header file there. Why is it incomplete? Did I do this wrong too? Size of? What? It's probably just other compiling errors, like getting on top of each other, because I mean, I'm using that correctly, so especially here. Oh, here's another incomplete type of struct token. What am I doing wrong? Man. I hate when this happens. Gosh, it's been a month since I've done the syntax. You know what? I'm just going to go to my GitHub. I actually have C code I can look at that I've done this in the past with here, so I'm just going to go here. Where is that? And then, oh man, I am forward declaring. Oh, I'm not forward declaring it here. Oh, that's the C file or the H file? Yeah, that's the H file. Shoot. Crap. Where did I do this at? Man. All right, Googling time. Could have sworn I did it right. But I clearly did something wrong. Maybe it's not compiling right because I got rid of the header files, but I doubt that. Well, I'm doing the for declare right there. Can't be because I'm missing a semicolon, can it? Probably not. That would be kind of dumb. IRC token. No, I shouldn't need to actually put this above them, but whoops. Ordering does matter, but yeah, clearly not. Oh well. I hate to say it, but this is all the time I have. I know I'm only about 15 minutes in, but like I said, I have that show to go to tonight. Plus, I'm pretty sure I don't want to bore you guys with trying to figure this out, so I'll just answer questions, I guess, as they see up. Oh, cool. Design it as the lib. Yeah, maybe. Really. What's my day job? I'm actually a senior web developer at an insurance company, believe it or not. That's what I do. Maybe I fiddle with servers a little bit, but I definitely don't do C. Actually, my primary language I work with at work is PHP, and then I also do C# applications as well. But that's typically what I got going on. Cool. Well, thanks for the comments tonight. Actually, congratulations, Muck da fuck off. I love that name. Mud duck off. Yeah. Madakov. Yeah, I don't know. I like how I said it better originally, but nice. And then Nava Styles. Sweet. Yeah. Sweet. Yeah. Thanks for the follow. Anyway, anything else before I hang up? No? Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in. I promise next time I will have my issue figured out in the errata section, so I will do that. All right, thank you, and see you tomorrow.